Okay, so I claim I have here an example of sorting, which is probably a bubble sort, I think. So I should add some comments to this code because we've been doing a crummy job of commenting things lately in videos, so I'm going to pick that up a little bit. So this is a bubble sort. Oh god. It's been a long day already. Okay, so bubble sort and maybe a date. Today is the 30th, 2018 still. Wait, is it Halloween today? I thought Halloween's tomorrow. Tomorrow.
It is eggnog season.
It's eggnog season?
Oh, you know that Starbucks calendar?
All right.
You say this right now, eggnog is all year round. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Okay, anyway, point is, I have here at the top some stuff. What are each of these lines doing? Declaring and initialize variables. And init variables. All right, what's this first one? Numbers?
Number of numbers that you're going for.
That's probably the number of numbers in the array. Array. Okay. Next, what do the square brackets do?
So tell them it's an array.
Okay, so that's saying, okay, there's an integer array called numbers, right? Which is the heck's an array?
It's a list.
Yeah, like basically a list, right? So I have a list of numbers that I'm going to sort. The heck is a rectangle width?
That would be with rectangles.
This is probably the width of the rectangles. Does that one really need a comment?
No.
Probably not. This is why good naming conventions are important. If you have good naming conventions, you need less comments. Fewer comments. Right? If you have crappy naming conventions, Drake, then you probably need more comments. Right? And then I have a step that I'm setting to 0. And so what's the step controlling?
The step is controlling something.
It's probably the stage or something. Like
Yeah. Controls what step we're at,
yeah.
I guess. Probably. What's a Boolean sorted probably describe?
Whether or not it's sorted.
Yeah. Right. This should be about if the array is sorted. Okay, and then in my setup method, I have usual stuff for window. So I have a window setup. What color is the background? White.
Random color.
No, don't do random color. Too late. All right, so I have a white background, and then what's this for loop doing?
Cycling through the array and so.
Yeah, this is populating your array with random numbers up to the
Height of the screen.
perfect. With random numbers up to the height of the screen. Yeah, and it's all annoyed with me because I didn't comment that line. Okay? Wait. Why is the rectangle width changing now?
you're making the width of the rectangles depending on how many numbers are in the array.
Good. Yeah, that makes sense, right? The width of the rectangle should change based on how many things you've put in the array. You guys all with me? All right. And then, whoa, wait. What does draw rect -1 -1 do?
The initial rectangle that being
Wait a second. Is that processing drawing a rectangle? Is that how you draw a rectangle with processing? No, I went and made a method, right? So that's calling the draw rect method. And it's passing -1 and -1. What does that do? I have no way of knowing right now. Okay, so first things first, I should probably go figure out what that does. So, let me see. Someplace here, oh look, there's a draw rect. Oh look, a comment! I commented a thing. Bully for me. So this takes 2 arguments, the indexes of the rectangles being compared. Right? And what does it return? What's the return type on the draw rect method there? Void, which means it returns nothing, right? Oh God, Zach, turn it off. Oh, thank you. Okay, so then I'm looping through the array again. You guys all see that? And we're saying if the array index is the first number, then what's this color? Fill is green, red, green, blue, right? So fill to green. What's this one? Okay, so if the index is the first number, it'll color it green. If the index is the second number, it'll color it red, and otherwise it will color it okay, and then draw rectangles from the bottom of the screen up. At least that's what the comment says. Is that actually what it does? Do you guys remember discovering this? Lakin, do you remember discovering this thing? This is the same thing. This is the same command that you were using to draw rectangles. You remember what was weird about this?
Oh, it was upside down. Sorry.
Yeah, so remember my rectangle mode is a corner and then a width and a height, right? So I have a corner at I times the rectangle width, right? So that's just, it went over as many rectangle widths as there have been drawn. It went down to the bottom of the screen. And normally if you draw a rectangle at some X value and a Y value that's on the bottom of the screen, it's going to appear below the screen and thus not be drawn, right? But the negative height makes it draw that thing upside down. You guys see that? It's a little bit weird that you could do that, but it works just fine, so whatever. So maybe if I was being a good computer coder, I would comment in here, note, the height is negative. This still works. Why would I comment? Why would that comment be maybe one of the most important ones in here?
Then they not transfer over to other things that are in processing.
Good. If you try to take this code and port it to another language, that might be problematic. Also, if they update processing and make the rectangle function work, quote, better, right, by removing this bug, should be noted that what I'm exploiting here is basically a bug. If you're exploiting a bug, you really, really want to note that in the comments, because those are the things that are most likely to change in updates of the language. Does that make sense? So if I go to run this program for this same class in 2 years, and it's not processing 3.37, it's 3.9, right? That's likely to be one of the things that they've changed, and then I'd have to go dig through and see if I can find it. If I haven't commented, then it's going to take me longer to find it. All right, so that's my draw rectangle. Why was I passing in a -1 and a -1 in the setup method? What were the two indices that you passed the draw rectangle method? What did they do?
X and Y.
No. Remember the two arguments that it took, A and B, determined whether the fill was set to green or whether the fill was set to red. So starting at 0 and going up to the number of, or to the length of the number arrays, -1 really. If I pass a -1 here, is -1 between 0 and the length of the array? No. This is, so initially at least, this isn't going to draw a green rectangle. It's not going to draw a red rectangle either. Why would I want it to not draw either of those rectangles? Because this is the thing about sorting, and I'm highlighting the ones that are being compared. You guys see that? Do you want to see what this program actually does before I go through the rest of it? You want to see what it looks like? Okay, so I get, wait, hang on. Why am I getting, oh. Bugger, why is it flickering? See, I thought I had this working, but clearly I was messing with it after I had it done. Okay, so let's look at what this does, and then we'll get confused. Does that look like a bubble sort?
Yeah.
How do I know it's a bubble sort? What am I watching for to see that it's probably a bubble sort?
Scroll enough, pushing the higher value.
Yeah, I'm looking for taller things to float, right? So if I want to slow this down so I can see what it's doing, maybe I'll just throw a frame rate in here. I thought I had this working on mouse click, but apparently I changed that functionality. Nope, that's not going to help. Okay, so it's going through and it's comparing each rectangle to the next one up, right? And then it's swapping them if they're taller. Cool. All right, so that seems like a successful bubble sort. Why is the mouse pressed thing not working? Obviously, I've changed some piece of code, so now I have to go through and figure out why my mouse pressed isn't working. I was hoping that I had this still set for, if you press the mouse, it does one sort step, right? So let me go figure out how to make it do that again. Let's see. So in my draw method, what am I doing? So if it's not sorted, oh, I see why it's all dorky. So if it's not sorted, right, then it's doing bubble sort step, right? So it's doing a bubble sort, and it's passing this step variable to the bubble sort step method, whatever the heck that does. Probably it does one step of bubble sorting. And then it's taking this step and adding one and modding by something about numbers, dot length, -1, some nonsense. And if it is sorted, right, which is going to be the else for not sorted, what's it drawing? Yeah, it's drawing rectangles and they're all blue. They're all blue because you passed it -1 and -1, right? So that's just the like cheater method of, yo dude, don't highlight a green rectangle or a red rectangle. There's lots of other ways to do that, but this is maybe the easy one. And then I have some kind of sort method that gets used right here. You guys see that? That's not calling the sorted variable, it's calling the sorted method. Hilariously, that means that I think the sorted variable never got used. I don't think this ever got used. Okay, and then in my mouse pressed, oh, I have it doing both things. You guys see that? So I have it sorting on draw and also sorting if I press the mouse. Let me turn one off. Yeah, exactly. You can speed this up if you really wanted to. So I just commented out the ones that get looped through, right? And now the only time it should sort is when I click the mouse. So these are the first two rectangles it's comparing. Should it switch these?
Yes.
Yep. So you switch them and compare the next two. So you're going to switch these. Yep. Switch. So you're going to switch these. Yep. So you're going to switch those. Yep. Is it going to switch those? Nope. It's going to leave those alone. And then it's going to compare these two. Is it going to switch those? Yep. So this is kind of how I can slow this down, right? And the reason, of course, that you would speed it up is that your little clicky finger gets tired. Right? Like, once you've convinced yourself that you understand how this algorithm works, then you would say, okay, dude, that is slower than molasses.
What if we lie to ourselves about that?
You lie to yourself. You certainly could lie to yourself and be like, no, I prefer to click it. And then you get carpal tunnel. And that's how that goes. So if I click now, I think it'll do one extra step per frame, which brings... So I suspect that I'm unable to click more than about 10 or 12 times. I don't know if I can even get... What do you figure? I get like 2 or 3 clicks a second? Like, if that? So I'm maybe making the frame rate 13 instead of 10? So yeah, I could speed it up a little bit, but not much. We could turn off that functionality. The interesting thing here is that I can keep clicking and it'll keep looping through and comparing, right? It'll keep trying to sort things, but they're sorted, man. Right? You guys cool with this? Okay, so why did this look so much more complicated than a regular bubble sort algorithm? Like, why is there so much crap here? Part of this got really complicated because I really, really wanted to highlight which two rectangles were getting compared. If you don't care which two rectangles are getting compared, this is way easier to write. You guys see that? Because you don't need to figure out when you're drawing your rectangles, right? Which is part of my bubble sort set, right? You don't need to draw the rectangles separately from sorting them. Lots of you guys have this working where you just sort them and it's fine. Cool? Questions? Okay, so suppose I wanted to implement another method. I'm going to give you guys this code, which I've now mostly commented. Not quite totally commented, but mostly commented. So I'm going to put this code on canvas, and the thing I want you to do is go through this and add a OR selection sort. Cool? Which one's a selection sort? Did I show you guys that one? Okay. So let me pause this, and I'll show you a selection sort.